We're here. Just gonna do a little astro chat. We are looking at, right, we're first day of October here. We're gonna chat more on the astrology. We already have on weekly. We have a separate video for that, apart from the reading portion. And we though will talk more about the astrology overall as well on 48 hours. But as a general note, right, we are, I don't know if that's stable. Oh, wait. We are moving into, right, October season. This is a different world. It feels like we've been, in summer vibes, right, for a long time. And of course, right, yeah, I mean, this is fall. So, but the vibe is definitely changing. Now, what I'm getting here, I was getting my voice is echoing. It is definitely doing what I thought it would do. Excellent. Okay. At least, we're right on. Okay, syllabus is, okay. How does that look, Isaac? Does it look fairly stable to you? More stable than I can ever put it in position of. Okay. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you for the support. So yeah, we're saying, this is, right, like a very interesting time. But the time of returns, many of you, I feel, are going to be hearing back from people. As I was meditating here this morning, I'm seeing that, there is definitely a return here coming. And this is someone who is circling back around the mountain. What I was getting from Spirit is it's a time of let's go back and remember what in the world happened back there. Not in a space of discussing it with that person, but just recalling, right, for yourself, like, what did that person make me feel like? What was that situation really sort of doing for me? There are times where, sometimes we can tend to forget, like, wow, it's like they're back, or wow, they're even like apologizing. Oh, okay. It's like that's one part of the story, and you always have your own story, right? Even if someone comes through and is like, I really like want a new beginning with you, it's like, well, what do you feel about that? And you're always going to have your own perspective given your perception through the past as well, right? And you have the right to account for that and really kind of add it all up according to your own metrics, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. At this point in time and always whether or not someone is in your best good, but especially now I'm hearing from Spirit, you've really elevated, okay, to the point to be able to also more clearly and openly vocalize to yourself, to your higher self, that something is not in alignment, right? We've all been there, okay, where it's like, yeah, I feel like this is not really in my alignment, but we still go along with that situation, that story. So I feel like for some of you here, like, there's a moment where we don't want the same thing that we maybe wanted at a certain point. It's like, it's kind of over for some. And so my voice is super echoey. Interesting. Okay. This is like holding me back. Superman with limitations, though. It's like, or Superwoman or Super They, Super It. It's like, maybe you felt that way. Maybe in the relationship you felt limited. You didn't have full range of, your truth. This is what I'm hearing is you felt it. Right? Sometimes when we're with certain people, it's like, we feel constricted. We don't really know, like, necessarily why or what it is, but we have this feeling of, like, it's like, at least in one of the chakras, okay, there's just something that's not comfortable fully. And so why should we live as a limited being, right? It's always your decision, but, I feel like we're at the point where we're saying, I don't need to experience something that is not my entire standard, okay? And that's not harsh. That's being brave, honest, that's empowered, and that is encouraging others to do their shadow work, right? Because if somebody really, really wants to be with you, they wouldn't want you to settle when it comes to what you see is in your highest good, right? Some of you, these people were in the Matrix, and the Matrix, is falling apart, and they're realizing this house ain't a home, and, yada yada, and so, you got to keep the fort strong, which you are. I mean, that's the point of Lightworkers right now. We are in a very comfortable, we'll say, position. It's nothing like what it was where, years ago or months ago when we were really in the thick of the fog. And these people, guys, they don't understand you. That's part of it. Do they realize that you have something, you're onto something, and they want to be with you? They want to, yeah, but they don't really do what they need to do as you have, and they cannot, because it's not something that they observe and then mimic, right? Shadow work is something that you have to confront pain, right, to move through, and that's what you've done. And it's initiatory process. Part of it is that, yeah, you pushing them back, okay, and being like, hey, it's great that you see my potential now, but I can't just sort of also react or respond just because you are now to certain issues that we needed to hash out back there. So the timeline is off a little bit. It's like, I feel like these are people who they're lagging, okay, in your life ultimately, and loving light to their frequencies, but they have to elevate, because I'm getting that you're not even receptive, but you may be. Who am I to say, right? I mean, this is a free will universe. You're going to decide. Maybe I do feel like it's worth it to be with Jonathan or Jessica, okay? Even though every time I hang out, it's like I feel like I lose my creative drive. I feel, encumbered by the pain of the past, and I feel like I, need to say something about that, but I'm letting it go because, well, he's sitting right here, or she's sitting right there, or they're sitting right across from me, and we're having, we have to pause and remember whether or not this is really in our highest good. And I say remember because ultimately we know, okay, there is a space, right, of knowingness, and you can always tap into that once you're ready, okay? And so that's where, you can consult yourself if you are truly ready to, okay? Otherwise, the ego is running you. Otherwise, it can be that the ego is more in a space of determining where you're at. That is more Matrix talk, though, and I feel like the people returning now are realizing they don't want to be in the Matrix, and that it's much better over there, right, where it's warmer and there's sunshine and, life is actually happening, not just on social media, love and light. So that's kind of the energy right now. Yes, it's becoming very clear. For some, so echoey. For some, these were people most likely who made fun of you. Okay, this is how you'll know who this is. And, don't remember if you guys recall, but that one astro, well, it was actually a reading we did. It was where, I had the very clear indication that we had made a decision in terms of where we're at with our ascension. And it was just so obvious. It was so clear. Do you guys remember? It was about almost a year ago, I think, a little under a year. And it's kind of like, you were trying to tell people over here, okay, yeah, the storm's about to get choppy, and over here is where it's at. It's warmer out here, and it's this or it's that. You got more dry land. They weren't trusting you, okay, and you could just feel it. Trusting, what we mean by that is on some plane or another, they weren't actually willing to admit, okay, with their higher self, what it is that you already had. Okay, so yet again, even if, let's say, they did believe that, it's very sad. I mean, really, for someone to make a decision in their life as well, just because they don't want to succumb to another person's vote. I'm hearing that as well. Very, very sort of combative, argumentative energy, okay, where, and so the thing, though, is that will always be the decision they live with, and don't feel bad if you feel that you initiated someone into a karmic space that they ended up moving down and along, and now they're realizing, wow, how do we say this? Well, your vibration is very high. So I see for some of you, you actually pushed, you came through. This is something that is meant to be. Don't feel bad about this message that's coming through. Spirit is reiterating this. This is a channel message, by the way. I'm just waiting for everyone to come out right now. Like, you're talking too loud. It's clear. I don't know who can hear me, whatever. This is a metaphor, maybe as well. But you're very high vibrational, right, being. So you come in with this sort of soul contract. Sometimes we think, wow, it's like this was just my lesson. Like this person, okay, has come through to just kind of like, okay, treat me like this and teach me that lesson like that. But you have a lot of soul contracts here that are actually, it's more so the other way. You think you're learning a lesson. They're really learning the lesson. Okay, if we were to weigh it out, okay. The calculator tips in the direction of that calculation over there that they're not doing right. So for some of you, and you're pointing it out. So you play a really big role in reminding people where they're scared. That's what it is really coming down to, right? As a light worker, you are showing people where they hold fear. And that's why you're so controversial. That's why people have, either they love you or they hate you. People will be like, wow, like, thank God, like, you showed me, that dark path. And because I was willing to see it and I saw it for what it was, I didn't follow it. And you saved me time, energy, money, and for myself and obviously the collective. And I see the broader, I see how we are here first as a collective, right? Because I'm not here for fear, which is an ego's conversation. Right? I'm not here for that one story that I must tell in this way. And if I don't, then I'm not a capable, empowered being. No. So this is where you remind people where their truth is at. Some people, though, are going to fight you. And what they're going to do, let's be honest now, okay? They may, if you are not in that moment with them, and this is where it's controversial, if you are not in that moment with them there, in this timeline, in that way, it may be that they may have not even taken that path. It actually may be that they would take the path that maybe you were even on. But the point is, right, that it's important to know where the weaknesses are at. Okay, so if it is, and we're talking in terms of the quantum reality, right, space. If you have this variable, okay, which is your very high vibration, and you are there with this person, what are you triggering? And so it's like, well, if the trigger wasn't there, if the donut wasn't sitting right there, okay, which is the donut in this case is the temptation to side with fear, okay, when, let's say, you're presented with something that is hitting on a fear of yours. Let's make this example. Let's say you were dating someone, okay. Let's say that you're a woman, so you identify as a female, right? Let's say that this person is masculine. Let's say that, you were giving them advice with something like, hey, I think maybe this would be really helpful for you. Obviously not just spewing advice at someone, right? But maybe you guys were even having a discussion or a conversation. Maybe even they were complaining about something in their life. And you come through and you come along, you're like, hey, so what about this or that, And it seems as if they almost wanted to take the absolute opposite of your advice. This person, right, let's give an example. In this case, right, they maybe would not have done the opposite had you not come through and said, hey, what about this? What about that? Or even if, let's say, they had the same advice that you were giving them from another man, from a masculine, they would take it maybe. But see, the test here is not the decision, right? It's the associative weaknesses, right? Where they associate something with something. That is the illusion. That's matrix energy. So for some of you, you really did test someone here and they didn't pass. They didn't pass for any reason or another. And Spirit wants to reiterate that, it's that they didn't pass. It's not that you did something wrong. It's not that the relationship didn't work out. There was a very particular test. And as a Lightworker, you don't know what that test is in the moment. Okay. I mean, so it's cross shadow as well. Are you going to see that situation as something that's wrong with you? Okay. Are you going to be like, wow, it's I guess my advice is no. If their brother gave them that advice, they take it in a heartbeat. Let's get real. So this is a very particular message. Now for some, this is not maybe work, it's a relationship, it's whatever it is. Okay. It's if the broski culture said, hey, it's cool to date guys what do they even call it? I don't even know. They would do it, it's something like that. So it can extend to religion, it can extend, so this is where people are, the fear is based on comparing your natural urge to a broader conversation structured reality. Okay, it's like, are you living in a culted programmed reality? That's the question. And so when you come into contact, light workers, with those who are in that, you will come into contact with people who are in the culted programmed reality space. And that is, anything that causes you to second guess your natural instinct, okay, to, I'm hearing survive spiritually here on planet Earth, okay, and so basically that, I know that's a tough message and not many people are willing to do that because 3D is very convincing and it's very, very, it's very, engaging, but it's up to you to identify what is truly a priority of yours here, and are you first. And so as a Lightworker star seed, you're very sold, I would say, more so on, and personally I've known this since I was young, okay, I was always into energy, I was always into energy, and I knew, like, this is not just, okay, what we're doing here on 3D, and usually star seeds, Lightworkers, cannot really side with 3D over their spiritual truth in the path. Indigo children, right? Rainbow children. It's like, usually very stubborn, like Isaac. Usually extremely, just kind of like averse to, general sort of moves of culture and being told what to do. Okay, this is, so the energy that is challenging, though, where that, the program reality energy still resides. So you're basically pointing out where matrix energy still is sort of unseen, okay, but by that person, and they got to be like, hey, shoot, I was holding some matrix energy back there, all right. And so, but right now these people are coming back, but not because they are, ready to fully invest in this experience. I'm getting that they don't yet know. Spirit is saying they don't yet know. Indeed, no, they're not. They don't have the full awareness yet. It's kind of like you're half awake. Okay, you haven't. Dino baby hasn't fully cracked out of the egg. He has to really pop out, crack through the whole thing. You got to be really ready for the experience, because part of that is going through the dark night of the soul. It's very hard to be, oh yeah, right, no, I'm totally like ready for this whole Lightworker thing. Did you have the Dark Knight? Well, no, it's like I got some crystals. It's like, that's not, those who are really, because that is the moment, okay? And so that you side with your spirituality, okay? Until then, you're really kind of feeling, maybe the human more than you are, okay, the soul of yours journey, okay, take it as you will, right? We all have multiple, take it as you will, that's maybe a very big message, but we exist obviously in a multiverse form, but this is a moment where, some people, they want to be, it's like, I do want to ride the rainbow. It's like, I realize it doesn't make sense to go, backwards, like, and try and work in the linear reality, obviously. So, no, but they have to actually acquire and attain, okay, those, we'll say even, those abilities, right? So this is, you're teaching people here, and you are, as star seeds, coming from a very, high vibrational dimensional state where, you have these capabilities. We won't talk about that now, but basically, you are a teacher and a guide, and it's important to remember that, it's never that the student will convince the teacher that they really do know how to do something until they've taken the test and proven it, and the test and the proving of it is, and the verification of it, the proof of the problem is how you feel, how you side with your intuition. It's important to remember that your recollection of, what really has happened in this connection is everything. We'll see you guys in the next readings. Love and light. Love.